get it.
All right, how we doing out there today? Welcome to DFS Insights, Final Insights. We're going to be here to help you guys make, those final decisions as you're here to make your lineups. I'm sure, you might have three fighters that you know are your locks, but you're having trouble finding out who those other three players you want to fit in. So I'm Dave Jr. This is my cousin David G. We're going to be here to help, walk you through all that. We're going to be going over UFC Vegas 96. Here in the main event, we got Mr. Borralho, who is undefeated and, to be honest, looking amazing, going against one of my top five fighters, Mr. Cannonier. Definitely excited for this main event. Hey, David, how about we hop into this, man? We can, pull up some stats.
Yeah, right. You're saying three fighters lock. I'm curious to hear here in the
Yeah.
in the near future who you got as a lock. But yeah, no.
Yeah, sorry, I need to take lock out of my vocabulary for sure.
Well, I mean, for this event, anyways. But yeah, Don, welcome back, man. Hope you did well. Starting off. Sorry, led you wrong with Protez. I thought Leach could hang in there, but I hope you appreciate that call with Jack over there and Kai Car France. So
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Hey, David, you helped me too. That the Kai Car France. Hey, I went him a little heavier because of you, and that helped me. And then, yeah, same with the other fighter you mentioned. Wasn't quite as heavy on him, but you had that one totally correct. So thank you.
And O'Neal, I knew she was gonna win, but I knew she wasn't gonna be optimal. But
Yep.
anyways, no, welcome back. Glad you're back. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Enough of me, bragging about the past. That's not gonna win us future money. So let's do it. Getting on
Sure.
over here. So here's the cheat sheet for this week. It's all filled out. Hope you tuned in. Gave us we did our breakdown, our initial breakdown where they didn't really have any values or anything really up because a lot of these fights came in late. I think this card actually started off with 9. Now it's at 12. I believe that's obviously they were holding out some of the fighters for the Ultimate Fighter finale or whatnot. But yeah, where do we start with this one? So you can see up on the screen these yellow fighters here. These fighters have less than 3 fights in the UFC, and that's basically half the fighters on this card. And then six of those fighters have 0 fights in the UFC. So just kind of going in here, this is going to be very kind of relying on the videos that we watched and leaning on some odds and then basically using leverage to give us that best advantage. So starting off it looking like at least the biggest leverage that it's coming in here is coming in at Michael Morales. Simply because if you're looking at he's a minus 1,000, and I think he's going against Magny, which I don't think has a chance. My only issue with that, I love that he's 18%. He does have dang near 90+% to win, but if you watch last fight, Mr. Tom Nolan coming in with a minus was it 2,000, ended up barely squeaking out a decision. So that doesn't necessarily transfer to DFS potential. So Morales at 9,500. I just went, I believe, slightly above the 18% on him, just because I just don't see him. I see him winning. I don't see him getting a fast win, round 1 or quick win. I believe Zach Reese is what my favorite 9K player, being slightly lower at the 9,200, and I think his potential to get that quick win probably is hands down better than Kong, Morales, and Shabazian. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. This might sound a little crazy, but something I always look for in fighters that have had a significant amount of fights is I go, okay, has this fighter ever lost 2 fights in a row? And yes, obviously it matters also who he fought, what the time frame was. But when I'm looking at Neil Magny here, I mean, all the way back from 2020, it goes win, loss, win, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. So, okay, well, he's coming off a win. And you could argue the loss to Gary Machado. That's not a terrible loss. He took him to a decision. He's supposed to be an up and comer. You know what I'm saying? So, at 6,700 as a dart throw, I don't know how many lineups people are making. If you're making 10 lineups, putting him in one to me isn't going to hurt. I'm not, and by no means high on him. I'll be completely transparent. I don't have enough, information on Morales except pulling up and seeing he's won 4 in a row. He's never lost. He's knocked out 2 people and 2 have gone to a decision. But nonetheless, as you mentioned, last card, we've seen some crazier stuff.
Yeah.
So, as a dart throw, but as you mentioned, at 9,500 for Morales, I don't really see him paying that off. He'd have to get that first round finish to get it paid off. And I think Magny is good enough, honestly, to take this to a decision or, a second, third round finish for Morales there. So
and I agree with this. I think, like I said, I think Morales is going to win. Can I show you guys my 6 and you tell me what you think? Yeah, if you feel comfortable, if you feel comfortable putting in the chat, give your opinion and see where you're at. Just keep in mind, our opinion and hopefully, steer you in the right course here. Keep in mind, David, I believe he's single entry again.
Okay. So single. Okay.
Yes.
Single entry.
So Magny at 6,700. I think
not a single entry.
No. I was thinking going up to Mearshart at the 72, just 500 more. I think has the better potential. And I can even say, hey, math. Our math has been pretty decent, sitting at about 75-80%. And it's actually projecting Mearshart to win. So I think I would, buy up, and Mearshart's even coming in low at 17.5%. Magny, that's more to me the GPP larger field tournament, and I just don't think
100%.
I don't think he has the power to put it on Morales enough. It is going crazy. It's raining in the middle of August here in California. So if the power goes out, apologize in advance. We'll try to get it going here. All right, so it looks like Don's coming through here, if you don't mind. Mearshart, Shabazian, Cannonier.
Wait. Is he stacking that then? He's stacking Shabazian.
Mearshart, Shabazian, Cannonier, Borralho, Reese, Hill. So you're stacking the top 3.
Which you don't. So when it comes to stacking, the only time you ever want to stack a fight is in a 5-round fight, and if you think it's going to go the distance, and either you have 2 high volume strikers like a Max Holloway, or like a Rose Namajunas and Wang Li. I've seen stacks win here and there. I have never seen a stack win that was not a 5-round fight, though.
Well, I would second that. I would say, can a stack win? Yes, there is a possibility. But in all honesty, the chances for the stack to win is really low. It's even lower if it's a 3-round fight. And then, it's even lower to have multiple stacks win on the same.
100%.
So,
100%.
I don't even see. Maybe I could see a Cannonier, Borralho stack, because I don't see Cannonier gassing out, but I could see Borralho getting quite a bit of takedown time and control time, and I could see Cannonier putting in enough strikes to where he's low enough salary at 7,600 where he could put in enough work to get it. However, I just don't, in my opinion, I didn't stack any fights in this particular card.
Yep, I second that, and I just don't. don't think the Cannonier Borralho fight is the right. Now, if you were doing a cash game, 50-50, or a 10-person, something like that, then you'll notice those people will stack, the main event typically, or if there's multiple 5-round fights,
And I believe
because that's the
I
scenario.
believe last time he was doing, was it 9K people in a single entry? So it was actually a higher single entry contest, if I'm not mistaken. So
For
you,
sure.
I mean, that
Sorry.
lineup, if it hits, like, you will probably be unique. I can guarantee you that. Unfortunately, I don't see that stack
Yeah.
happening.
Both being optimal. Your goal is always, no matter what tournament, no matter what buy-in, no matter how many people, your goal is to have the optimal lineup and have
Well,
the people that are going to score the highest points.
the goal
So,
is not to have the optimal lineup. The goal is to have zero point 0.1
well,
points more than the other
better
person.
than
So
hey,
I don't need the nuts lineup to win. I just need to have better points than anybody else.
this is true. I'm sorry. I strive for perfection, bro. Hey, I'm
Well,
sorry. I'm
if I
striving
can
for
get the nuts
perfection.
lineup every time, then it is what it is.
Oh, for sure. No, hey,
So
even
if I had to pick, I like Mearshart. I'll just break it down.
love your chart.
I'll go kind of, each player here. Give you my insight, and tag David in here too. Mearshart, I like him over Sabazian. I like the value you get at the 7,200. He does have the potential to win. He's more of a grappler. The unfortunate downside to that, dude has a glass chin, and I can see Sabazian, clipping him and the fight ending. However, math is favoring him. I'm typically, I think, leaning more towards him just because I like the value at the 7,200. I don't like the 9K value of Shabazian, unfortunately. So if I had to go, I would probably go Mearshart there. Coming in at the Cannonier. Oh, well, David, what do you think about that,
Yeah.
just that quick thing, and then we'll burn through each kind of one of the things here.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, no, I believe Mearshart is arguably my favorite play on the slate. Um, he can submit if he gets Shabazian to the ground, he's going to get submitted. And I've watched Mearshart pull multiple upsets because if he's a brilliant jiu-jitsu artist. So I love I love grapplers and wrestlers over strikers every day of the week. I understand sometimes those strikers are going to win, but over time, to me, the grappler, and when the fight gets to the ground, even if you're as good as Israel Adesanya and you can get back up, look what happened last card. DDP still was able to submit him even though Izzy got up a couple of times.
Yeah.
So, yep, I'm with you with Mearshart. You can go ahead and go on to the next one.
So yeah, Borralho Cannonier. Shoot, that's a tough one. Cannonier,
That's
I love the value on it, 7,600. Um, but I do like the Borralho. I think me personally, I think he's gonna, potentially, be basically that grappler edge over Cannonier. I think he's gonna finish with inside the 5 rounds. I'm hoping second, third round for Borralho. 8,600 is actually not a bad value for a 5-round fighter and as a grappler. The potential, takedowns are huge. Control time is huge in DraftKings. So I think I would lean. Me personally, I did lean a lot Borralho, Caio in my lineups. I did go, a lot of Cannonier as well, but that's because I primarily play GPP, and I think, him being at 23% ownership and Caio coming in at 49% ownership, taking the risk there and trying to get that leverage play. But single entry, I think Borralho will probably, to be honest, higher than 49%. I think you're looking probably closer to 55-ish, mid 50s for him. So I think that would be my pick there.
So I'm torn as you are. I'd have 50-50% exposure to both of these guys after what I saw last week with a couple of things that I thought were going to happen. Cannonier is coming off an injury. He's only had one fight since that injury. He did take it 4 rounds. He has fought the much tougher. He's beat Sean Strickland. He's beat another former champion. And this is going to be Borralho's first 5-round fight. So even though he is undefeated for Borralho, this is his true test. Is he going to be a title challenger here coming up? Or is Cannonier going to remind everybody what's going on? So my advice to you would be either one of those plays are great, and whatever salary you need in order to reach, your final piece. If you go, oh, well, I got to change Borralho down to Cannonier and save yourself, almost 1,000 or 800 or whatever it is, then I would switch it so that you could then make a more balanced lineup. So,
Yeah.
whoever you feel comfortable with, if you want to go ahead and start with the favorite in Borralho, start there, but don't be afraid to fix that at the very end if you need that extra salary to bump someone else up.
Yeah.
So that's my thought process.
And then you're probably not going to like me for this next one. I don't like the Hill Ricci fight. I'm sorry. I think Ricci's going to win. I think Hill, unfortunately, I don't know, maybe she pissed somebody off in the UFC, but it just doesn't seem like she gets calls. So I think if this is a close fight, Ricci's going to get the decision. Looking back at Hill, you can see that, some of them, you're like, oh, well, she should have won that in those split decisions, but she just doesn't seem to get the call. I just think Ricci's going to take it on that, but I think it's in a decision, and I don't think there's enough leverage at the 8K, 80, or even at the 8,200 there. Math does have Hill coming in, so I guess if you were to be dead set on picking one of them, I might lean more with the math on this one with Hill. I think she will need to finish. Like I said, I think for whatever reason she, maybe she just pissed somebody off I don't know about, or I don't know the backstory, but I think she's going to need to finish there.
Yeah, Hill, I personally do like, I like this fight. I do like both sides of the fight, because if you notice when they win, they both do tend to score pretty high. Both of them, Ricci's getting more takedowns, and she's much more competent on the ground than Hill is. Hill has been making progress in her ground game, but my fear would be it's not going to be enough to outlast Ricci. I'm going to have exposure to both sides of this fight. Not super heavy, but if you are picking one for your single entry, because their salaries are so close, I would probably recommend going Ricci in this versus Hill. If you're dead set on targeting that fight, which I wouldn't blame you, I would go Ricci in your single entry.
Looks like Mad Mardigan coming in here. Better 8,400 play, Fletcher or Valentin? So Mad Mardigan, that's tough. Obviously, I hate trying to just give one person, because I like to see the overall lineup, because I believe, at least when I'm making lineups, I like to have my entire lineup like positive expected value. And I don't really see one person necessarily winning, a slate. I do see one person destroying a slate for sure. But not knowing your full lineup, I can kind of give you, my general opinion on both of those fighters. But as far as, what you have, to ensure that your lineup is, that positive EV, positive expected value, if you've heard those terms before. Fletcher looking, at least here on, on the cheat sheet, I like him slightly more coming in here. He has a better leverage play. Now, keeping in mind, I primarily play, large field GPP tournaments, so this is where my view's coming from on that. His win leverage is okay, but he does have a way better inside the distance leverage than Valentin does. and then also he does have a higher round one potential too on there. Ramaska, don't know too much about him. I believe what David you mentioned, he was, he had like his face broken or something.
Yeah, he was undefeated until he got the fracture in
Yeah.
his orbital.
So,
So
don't really know too much information coming in on him. In Frey, I believe, is fighting Louder, and these fighters don't really have all that much experience, like literally zero in the UFC. So, yeah, I think you're right. Leaning Fletcher, for me to be more confident on how what I would see, I would need to see the entire lineup, but I understand why you wouldn't want to put that lineup out, because then you lose expected value, letting everybody know your lineup. So, but yeah, I think in my GPP, I did go, let me look, just so I'm not blowing smoke here, but if you want to say, I'm going to go look up my ownership that I went into GPP when it comes to Fletcher and Valentin for him.
yeah, yeah. While you're pulling that up, I was typing to him to let him know, like, hey, I don't know how many lineups you are doing, but if you're doing multiple, a great thing that I do all the time, I make the same lineup, and obviously Fletcher's a little bit more money. I'll make the same lineup with Fletcher, and then I'll make another lineup with with the other guy, because he's going to be less. Then you leave salary on the table, so you can either upgrade one of your other players, or by leaving money on the table, it'll stop you from having dupes and tying with other people, which is another great way, to be different.
I'll throw my exposure up on the screen here. This is my exposures. I basically use an optimizer. I create 150 lineups. I only entered in 31 this card. This card's just too much. What if this happens? So I went a little bit lighter, but here's my exposures for the 150 lineups. So looking here, I went 52 lineups had Fletcher in it, and 53 had Valentin. So pretty even. So yeah, Fletcher coming in at 34.7, 35.3 Valentin. So yeah, that's.
Oh, my apologies. I read that wrong, because it said Fletcher or Valentin, and my apologies on that. I was reading that as the other fight. So my apologies. I was thinking it was the Valentin Loader fight.
Yeah, so then, it comes down to Fletcher, coming in at an average ownership of 32.2%, Frey, or Valentin, Frey, whatever, coming in at 36.8. So therefore, that's why you can see the leverage is a little bit higher on Fletcher, because his ownership is lower. So the lower ownership, the lower people that have him, the better leverage, if he does do well, you will have. So, yeah, no, hopefully, obviously, your lineup can support, you supports that, and obviously your whole lineup combined is that positive expected value, because as long as you're creating those positive expected value lineups, man, you might not win, but just, you just want to put yourself in a good spot to get, basically get lucky. That's what it is. Yeah, I am terrible at predicting the future. I wish I could. Trust me, we would be making people a lot of money. But I David and I, we like to put ourselves in the best position possible to hit when it does hit. So, yeah,
for sure, 100%.
Yeah, man, those Ultimate Fighter fights, I think those could.
Yeah.
And it's just like how they priced them too, just right there in that middle 8K range. It's terrible, because that couldn't, like I said, make or break a slate. I like the Wayne Kong 9600. I think she's gonna destroy Leonardo. However, it's like, hey, Wayne Kong, are you gonna Tom Nolan me? I'm gonna start calling it that. Are you gonna Tom Nolan me? Like.
Hey, just so you guys have, so I'm only doing 10 lineups into the it's the $8 10K to first. It's gonna sound a little crazy. David, brace yourself, because my ownerships get a little high, and I do still have 2 more lineups to make. But I got Gerald Mearshart at 86%, I'm really riding that underdog there. I got Reese at 86%. I got Borshev at 71%. Jared Cannonier 57. Borralho at 43. Um, Kalaventikai at 43%. Loader 43. Shabazian 29. Valentine 29. Ricci 29. Angela Hill 14.
Yeah.
Marshall 14. So it'll be interesting.
What's less chalky, using all the salary and playing Wong, or leaving 400 and playing Reese? I'm taking Wong and using all the salary because I think Reese will be chalk in single entry. To be honest, I think Reese will be the chalkier 9K play in probably all formats. To be honest, I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the stream, but we did mention that I think Reese he should probably be the 9,600. I think he has the best chance to get that quick win. His average ownership is the highest, is at 38.9. So you are right there by going less chalky with Kong, who's coming in at 29.6. I think she will probably be around there. I think Reese will be higher. I have a feeling he'll be probably coming in closer to mid 40s, maybe high 40s.
So not to cut you off, but just so you know, anytime you zero out the salary, that is automatically, I want to say, at least 20% chalkier, no matter what other fighter you were to do. So anytime you can leave even $200, 200 on the table, you're automatically going to be less chalky because most players will find a way to zero out their salary, and that is the number one thing that the newer people are going to be doing. And so to separate it, I personally, first I say what fighter has the best chance of making the optimal lineup. If I feel two fighters have the same chance of making the optimal, then I'm going to take whatever I can leave the salary. So that's how I would approach it. I would leave the 400. That's my personal opinion.
Well, hold on, but if you're, it depends. Like, I mean, if he's coming in and using all the salary, but he's you can go Kong here, throwing Morales at 18%. Mind you, this is single entry, and a lot of these numbers are based on large field GPP, so keeping that in mind. But I mean, he could have a very low ownership thing and still zero out the salary. That doesn't necessarily. I would probably stick with single entry. I don't know how many total entries that the tournament that you're doing, but if you're similar to what Don was doing, at least last time, he was about that 9K range, I think, total entries. You want to be different, but in single entries you don't have to be as different as you would
100%.
As GPP. You can be chalk. You can eat the chalk on Reese and then still maybe throw in someone slightly lower owned, but you don't want to throw in Kong and then just have to now you're kind of forced to take a Medina or a Magny, and you're just like, you don't want to eat that in a single entry. In my opinion.
So I'm not sure how many people or which single entry you're doing, but last week I did the $40 single entry. I had all winners, but it was so chalky, I still only took 145th place, and my $40 only turned into 60. Here, I'll just read it off to you. So I had Drakus at 60% owned. I had Rosenstruck at 30. I had Walker at 45%. I had Ramos at 30%. I had Nolan at 46% and O'Neal at 45%. And I thought, okay, there's only 800 people in this tournament, so I can go chalk and zero it out. And if I get all the fighters right, I should have been in the top 10. I took 145th. I was shocked.
Nice, Don.
Only 800 people.
Nice, Don. You switched up that lineup to. I mean, we're not telling you not to stack the. I don't personally stack.
No, don't stack. Do not stack.
No,
I'll say it.
Okay, I don't personally stack.
Do not
but
stack.
If you did stack,
Discard.
only the main
Discard.
event. Only the main event.
Yes, but
Um,
don't do that either.
yeah.
I promise you.
But so it looks like
No.
Mad
Hey,
Mardigan's
hey,
coming in.
hey,
Go ahead.
Don, if you come back to our next live before lock and that stack, if the main event stack is in the optimal lineup, I will Venmo you $50. Straight up. I will keep my word. Come back in the chat. I promise you, stacking the main event, unless some freak thing happens, is not going to be optimal. I'm looking out for you. I've been doing this for a long time. I got you, bro.
And Matt Mardigan's going. He's saying he's using all his salary, but he's going to fade Reese and the main.
Oh, okay. So that's
huge.
another way to approach it.
That's
Yeah,
huge
yeah.
because
That's another
you have
way
to
to approach
think now if these ownerships translate over, which I mean they'll be close. I don't think they're I think they'll be different, definitely different in single entry, especially a 1K dollar single entry. So just looking here, you got Borralho coming in at 49%. I think he's going to be closer to 53, 54%. So right there, you're different than half the field, more than half the field, right? By just fading, him. And then you throw Reese on top of that, which I think, that could be probably a pretty popular combination, Borralho and Reese. Reese being probably the better 9K player, Borralho coming in as the main event grappler. So like you mentioned, those will be heavy owned. So now I'm not saying, but I'm not saying you're right, I'm not saying you're wrong. But if you did happen to be right, you'll probably be setting yourself up pretty good to be, if you did happen to, obviously you'd have to hit the other 4 people or whatever, that's still an if, but you'd be setting yourself up pretty good to be, potentially hitting by yourself or,
sure.
1 to 5 people. And that's what I like to do. Like, I put my lineups, I like winning, but I also don't want to win with 700 people. I like people, but I don't like them when they win my money. So
yeah, I've tied with 700 people once, and I got like $100, and it was you look at your thing and you check your scores, and it's like, oh, I took first out of 15,000 people, dude. Yes, and then I looked and saw like you won, $164, and I was like, what?
Yeah, so it's obviously it's nice to win, so you want to win. But I like to put myself in the position to where I win, I'm hitting with, 1 to 10 people max. Like even 10 people I think is too much. Like 1 to 5.
1 to 5.
But at the same time, it's like you can't be throwing out just crazy lineups. They all got to make sense, and that's why I keep iterating that, that positive expected value lineup. It's not. I hate doing like one person. Like no one person is like. A person could be EV, but the lineup has to be overall positive. So, hopefully, we're going to be doing, here in the near future, some YouTube videos about how we do lineup construction and kind of our thought process, and things like that. But that's probably more in the near future. We got to still work out all that. But what do you think about Dennis Buzukcha? I probably butchered his name, but 7,400 coming in, 30% ownership. He's fighting Francis Marshall, late replacement for Dan Silva.
Oh, for Silva, yeah. Yeah, don't be rostering Dan. They left Dan Silva up there, and then didn't even put him in red. Yeah. Do not, it's just so ridiculous. I can't believe they did that without taking him down or putting him in red. It's ridiculous. Sorry, what was the question? It was
well, that's how we got one from Mad Mardigan here. He said he's rolling with Wong, Edmund, Long Top, Louder, Fletcher, Ofley. Wow. Nice. So you're riding that Ultimate Fighter train. You're I mean, if you follow, I haven't followed. I'll be honest, man. I haven't followed the Ultimate, not UFC. I follow UFC. If I didn't follow the UFC,
wait,
that'd
you're
be
not
rough.
Following the Ultimate UFC.
Yeah, that'd be rough. The Ultimate Fighter in so long, man. I think it kind of lost its luster, at least for me, anyways. A long time ago. I don't want to say the last one I did because I'll probably date myself, but
You didn't watch Connor and Chandler, bro?
No.
Sorry, we got 10 minutes before lock, so let's help our
Oh yeah,
brothers
here we
out
go.
here.
Yeah, Wong,
Um,
Edmund, Long. Yeah, I think Long Top does. He is a yellow fighter, but he does have 3 fights. I do like him. Our math is coming him at 54% over Borshchov, but I think Borshchov is he's licking his chops because he's finally going up against a striker. Uh, Borchechov is dude. He's so one sided. Like he is not a grappler. He is not terrible takedown defense, and I think he's just drawn the short end of the stick his whole career and getting grapplers. And he's all he wanted is a striker, and here it is, Long Top. I think Long Top has potential, but I think it's going to be a slugfest. And to be honest, I think it could be anybody's game. But I think if Long Top does pull it off, 7,500, 22% ownership, it will be a good play. Great play.
Speaking of which, making a final adjustment.
Fletcher, hopefully, man, those are so tough. It's just not so any too much data out there on those Ultimate Fighter ones. I'd be curious to see, if you do, swing back by the next time, let us know how you did. Because obviously, I'm going to be paying attention to the large field GPP, but I'm going to be curious to see how that all translates over to the single entry for sure. But yeah, Buzhekov, man, I like him. I think he's priced too low. I think he's more 7,800 fighter with this new matchup of Marshall. So that could be some value for people that are overlooking him. Obviously, keeping in mind that he would, winning would be great, but I think he can add value at that 7,400. Marshall's taking the fight on short notice and everything, so could catch him sleeping.
Yes, sir. I agree with that. Let me lock this in.
Yeah. Haven't talked too much about Nunes. Nunes and was it Cavalcante? I think she's going to destroy Nunes.
Me too.
There.
Agreed.
So not too much data out there with her. She as far as our math predictions go, but I think she's a better fighter. She is even just slightly more owned, 28% to Nunes is 22%. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting card for sure. I'll be interested to see how many upsets are on here and how many finishes there are for sure.
Yeah, I'll go up again here. Just showing my ownership. And to be honest, look, Leonardo, I went 6 lineups, only 4% ownership. Magny, 12 lineups, 8%. Medina, 9.3. Keeping in mind, this is out of 150 lineups I create. I only entered in 31. So, Mearshart, I went, 19%. So that's pretty good. Buzeka, as I was just stating, I think he's undervalued. So went slightly higher with him, 24. Long Top, we were just talking about, 23. Cannonier had quite a bit. All lefty did. Nunes, okay. Razaka, 30%. Ricci fight, only went 19. Hill only went 8. Marshall. Who did I go the most on? Oh, yeah, Borralho, 45. Yeah, I didn't go anybody over 50% this time. I like to cap out.
Okay.
Like, I really typically never go over, 55% on any fighter. I think it's actually 2 weeks ago, I think I did one, and it was Grigioro, that guy.
That's why you're jaded.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Him and Tom Nolan. Actually, I didn't go too much Tom Nolan, so I can't hate on him, but, Tom Nolan.
Dude, I'm 2 for 3 though, bro. Bilal Muhammad, man, made me so much money. I love Bilal, dude. I was so heavy on Bilal Muhammad. That was amazing. And who? Shoot, this last person, because you were shocked when I was reading you my ownerships, and he did crazy well. Yeah, 2 2 for 3. I got I got Mearshart at 75% and Reese at 88 are my two highest. Everyone else is under 50 or below. So
You got Kyle at a minus 166. That's good. Obviously, he's coming in at minus 275, so I think you got a pretty good deal there. Unfortunately, I live in the great state of California, and I can't bet like that. I can't.
I know.
So
I wish we could.
yeah, until California pulls their head out of their ass, stuck with DFS for the time being. But no, I mean, if you got it at a 166, I think you got it good.
Yeah.
Is that just a straight up win, or is that based on round, or what? Or that's just straight up win? That'd be great. Because I think I think Borralho is going to win. So.
Yeah, if you got the money line, yeah, just straight money line for the win. That's solid for sure.
I'd be curious.
Yeah, I ended up 50% Cannonier, and I went. I'm my 50. Where is he? Okay, 38% Borralho and 50% Cannonier. Again, I am a little biased on Cannonier, so take that with a grain of salt. So yeah.
Well, yeah, like I mean, I can, to be honest, like I'll tell you, I don't really care who wins as long as they're in my DFS lineup. Like I'm a fan of this, the sport and everything, and I have my favorite fighters. But when it comes down to it, I'm looking at how I can win money, and if my fan favorite, is not going to win me money, sorry, buddy, unfortunately, I'll still root for you to win the next one.
Well, as you mentioned, though, these odds are close. It's considered a coin flip if it's anything under, a minus 200. That's, if it's minus 150 or below, that's basically a coin flip. So if it's a coin flip, I'm going to go typically over a little bit, either over on the guy that I like or I have the gut feeling on or something.
Nah.
I know your gut feeling can't measure anything. You know what I'm saying? But I know what my eyes have told me, and I watched tons of tape.
Yeah, but
not to plug a website.
Sorry. I would say 3 minutes. Who's your favorite play? Let's go quick.
Oh, yeah, my favorite play is gonna have to be Jared Mearshart, man. I just I see him getting a submission. I'm like he's either gonna get a submission or he's gonna lose. I'll tell you that much. And I think he's gonna get the submission. He needs a win, and I like him.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna say favorite underdog for sure will be Mearshart. And I think Buzeka has a good chance there, but I think Mearshart has, I think he might pull it off there. And I'm going to say, stick with it. I think Zach Reese is going to get that quick win tonight.
Nice.
I hate predicting things because it just makes you look like an ass if you get it wrong. But I can say I think he has the best chance to get that quick win tonight.
Hey, it's all about having the balls to put out there, though. We're putting out what our picks are, what our favorite plays are. Sometimes we're going to be right, sometimes we're going to be wrong. We both have been doing this for a really long time, and I love here. I'm glad we got some people in the chat. We're able to help out. Start to build this community. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it here. So Vegas 96. Hopefully, next week we have off. So. Everybody, hopefully you win big, and you can go enjoy the week next week off, and then we hit another fight night before we have Vegas. Was a UFC Noche, the Sphere fight.
Yes, sir. Let's go, Sean O'Malley. Let's go, baby.
Yeah,
can't wait.
So just keeping in mind, we like to do this. We're going to be trying to do these live events here. Final insights going forward. No, I will not be present for the Sphere fight. I have a baby shower. I can't miss because it's my baby. So
I know. Yeah. You can't even call into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or I wouldn't be able to do any more going forward. So
yeah. DF Insights would be over.
So with that, hey, we typically drop a main breakdown here. And typically drops Friday morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning. So keep your eye out on that. We're going to be doing NFL, DraftKings, the Millie Maker here starting week 1. Keeping in mind, it's really anybody's game in NFL for the first 3 weeks until rosters get settled out and you find out who's the big dog, who's not. And then, and NBA, we love doing NBA, but primarily we do NBA single game FanDuels because it's just a better format. So with that, any final questions? Nope. Lock, guys. Take it easy. Good luck.
Lock, baby.
Yeah, good luck. And
make that money, guys.
That's us out.